All right, welcome back to video 2 in my series of Back to Voiceover Basics. What we're doing is we're going back to look at the foundation to make sure the foundation's strong and that we're executing the fundamentals in such a way that positions us for our best chance of voiceover success. And the video I recorded yesterday, and if you haven't seen it yet, I would encourage you to go back and watch it. I talked about mindset really being the fundamental cornerstone of the basics of voiceover, that if your head's not right, it's hard to get anything else right. So once we have that right, then we move on to the other things, those other building blocks, those fundamentals that we need to understand and execute really well. Today I want to talk about something, actually it ends up being from my perspective and in what I've seen over the years in working with talent, the number one killer of voiceover careers, and that is your audio quality. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard from someone who said, I'm struggling, I've auditioned, I've marketed, I'm not, and I just can't get work. And I'll say, well, send me an audio file. Let me take a listen. And it becomes very apparent immediately that when they would send out a project or an audition based on the audio they were recording, client's not going to listen to more than 3 to 5 seconds of it. Because it's not good. It could either be, well, and when I say bad quality, let me define that a little more specifically. Usually bad quality boils down to the quietness of the space in which they record or how well it's acoustically treated. Note that I didn't say anything about microphones or gear, microphone interfaces, or recording software. I cannot state this strongly and clearly enough because it is so hard for people to get around this. That is, your audio quality is not primarily determined by your microphone. Just yesterday, I received an email. Hey, what microphone do you like? Well, I don't know. I mean, I like my microphone. There's a lot of microphones I like, but what they're trying to get at is, what's going to make me sound the best? And the reality is the microphone is not the biggest component of that equation. It's the space in which you record. And just to demonstrate that, when I began my career, I was working with a microphone called a Marshall MXL 2001. They haven't made it for years. You can buy them used on eBay online for about $50 or $60. And because I was in a well-treated and a quiet space, I was into six figures with that $50, $60 microphone, recording even national commercials. Now, if you've got the money and you want to buy a nicer microphone, and I certainly have now as my career has grown, that's great. But don't operate under the illusion that the microphone's going to change everything, just like in golf. And I say that because I understand I'm guilty of the same thing. There's this false illusion that, well, if I just get a new driver or new clubs, I'll play better. And the reality is, for those of us who've gone through this, we know it doesn't work that way. If you don't have the skills, if you don't have everything else right, a change of clubs is not going to change anything. So make sure that your space is good. Two things. Let me go back and let me dive a little deeper into the two things I mentioned before. How quiet your space is and how well treated. The reality of recording from home is nobody has a perfect space, or at least I have yet to meet the person that has the perfect recording space where noise is never an issue. As long as we work from home, and that's the way most of us work from home, is we're going to have to deal with toilet flushes and dogs barking and babies crying and kids playing outside and low-flying airplanes and trucks and, I could go on and on, snow blowers and lawn mowers. And, I've got some guys, some landscapers working in my yard today, and chances are I'm going to have to stop working at some point to allow them to do what they do, because that's just what we have to deal with. So don't feel like you're alone. Don't feel like everybody else has it together and you're the only one who struggles, because that's not the case at all. The question becomes, okay, where in my house can I go to get the best or the quietest environment? Well, and that just requires some research. And what I suggest is just going around and sitting, because most of us aren't even aware of how loud or quiet the spaces in our home are, because we don't really have to for voiceover. It's a whole new demanding kind of thing. For everyday life, it's not an important thing. We don't pay attention to it. So just go sit. Sit in a spare bedroom. Sit in your closet. Better if you have an interior room with no walls to the outside. Typically, that's going to be better. But sit and listen. Just listen. What do you hear? How loud are those sounds? And then think about the time of the day that you'll most likely be working. And make sure that you check those spaces in your home during the time that you'll be working, because traffic patterns change in terms of, kids outdoor, playing, getting out of school. When are people moving around the house? What about traffic outside? It's different at different times of day. So make sure you check at different times of day, and make sure you check everything. If you have a basement, check your basement. Basements can be really good recording spaces, unless you have like your HVAC down there, and then that can be a whole new, the answer that I give to one person as the best place to record may not be the same answer for the next 9 people, because everybody's home, everybody's environment is different. So you have to find the best place that you can, that you have access to. And there may come a time that you'll need to invest in materials, acoustic materials, or some sort of structure that will help, but probably don't need to right off the bat. And I would suggest that you not spend the money until you have to, but find the quietest place that you can. The next thing is acoustic treatment. Well, what does that mean? It means materials that either are designed, or just because of the nature of the kind of material that they tend to deflect or especially absorb sound waves. Now, I'm in a booth that has acoustic foam, which is engineered specifically for that. Now, all acoustic foam is not created equal, so do your research. Moving blankets are a possible solution. There are acoustic panels and acoustic blankets that can be purchased, but there are low-cost solutions until you can afford the more expensive ones. And sure, the low-cost solutions don't sound quite as good as the more expensive ones. But I've got plenty of students who make a living working with cheaper materials. And then as they grow their careers and their businesses, they get the better, higher priced tag kind of stuff. But when I first started, I was in a closet and I had a Walmart mattress topper in front of me, and I was surrounded by clothing. And it worked pretty good. I mean, does it work as good as this booth? No. But I built a 6-figure income in that booth. So quiet and well-treated. Surround yourself with materials that will absorb. Because if you put a microphone, even a cheaper microphone, and there are some good microphones that don't cost a lot of money right now, but you put a decent microphone in a really well-treated space, it's going to sound good. You put a $1,000 microphone or a $1,500 microphone in that space, it's going to sound terrible. As a matter of fact, the better the microphone, the worse the sound, because it's more sensitive to those sounds. So don't be fooled into thinking this is the answer, the microphone. It's not. It's the space in which you work. And when you have good quality audio, you increase your chances of being hired. Don't let this audio be the thing that keeps you from succeeding in voiceover. Scout out the best place and make sure that it's treated acoustically as best as you can, and you will well be on your way to voiceover success. Now, if you want a deeper dive into how to build a voiceover business, there's a link below this video. It will take you to my latest program, voiceover training program. It's in streaming video format, on demand. You can access it anywhere you have an internet connection, whenever you want, for as long as you want. And if you access it through the link below, you get a 50% discount. It's a great way to help you to move forward toward your goals in voiceover. Thanks for checking out the video. Click the link below.